She is one of the most talented lead singers to come out of the 1980s, lead singer Annabella from the band Bow Wow Wow. Annabella, what's going on?
I am doing some shows in LA, so I'm looking forward to reconnecting with the fans.
Absolutely. So tell me, Annabella, where are you from and what were your musical influences growing up?
My musical influences when I was growing up. Wow, that's a big question.
It's a good one.
I had how long have you got? I had three older brothers, and so obviously, as with older siblings, you kind of get into sometimes what they're listening to, and I ended up getting into different genres of music. Really, I mean, it was from like Led Zeppelin to Led Zeppelin, Genesis, Pink Floyd, into the Brothers Johnson, and all the kind of funky, soulful kind of thing. My favorite, of course, was Stevie Wonder. My all-time favorite at that time when I was growing up was Stevie Wonder.
You moved to London, England at a very early age, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and then what were you listening to at that time? Because I heard a story that you were discovered when you were like 13, 14 years old, working in London, and you were singing to a Stevie Wonder tune, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So tell me about that story.
Well, I had a day job. My mum couldn't afford to give me pocket money. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of single parents can relate to this, but because I was born in the Far East, I was born in Burma, in Rangoon, Burma, and it's now been changed to just for FYI reference for all those that may or may not be interested. It's now called Myanmar, and that's the Burmese name for Burma, and it's Yangon, the actual country. So anyway, I was born there, and unfortunately my parents split up, and I went to live in England with my mother. And the day job came because I just simply needed to make some money to buy myself some bits and pieces like, most teenage girls like to do.
Hmm.
And I was just working in there and singing along to the radio. And it was from there that I discovered, apparently discovered, I don't really know how you want to put it, but I was just singing along to a radio. So there you go.
Perfect. And how was the band Bow Wow Wow put together? Because I heard that there were some members from Adam and the Ants too.
Yeah, the original members, all barring the bass player, because he wasn't the original member, but the drummer and lead guitar player were in, don't quote me on this because I wasn't around at the time, but from what I'm understanding, Adam had approached Malcolm McLaren to help him put together some ideas or help him to, I don't know, whatever he was approaching him for. And he had the drummer and the lead guitar player, and I think they auditioned the bassist a week before I joined or something. But I do know that there was this kind of like untogetherness with what was going on at the time, because when I auditioned for them, they had like an English girl singing behind the microphone when I stepped into my audition with them, which was obviously my very first audition. And I just walked in, and I don't know what happened, but from C30, C60, C90, Go, which was already written and penned by McLaren, that was it. They wanted me in the band, apparently.
In 1981, the band split with EMI and joined up with RCA Records. And how did the debut single "Go Wild in the Country" come about?
Well, there was a very nice man called Bill Kimber who was working for RCA, and apparently he said it would be a great single. And he was our, what they call artist relations and A&R guy, as the terminology is known. So he's the one that kind of picked that song for us. But it was actually not the first single that kind of, took off. It was the one in the UK that went down well in the UK, but there were other songs.
How did you guys? It's so funny. I did a '60s show for 6-7 years here in LA, and how did you guys come up with the idea to record the tune "I Want Candy"?
Ooh, these are kind of, where did you get this list of questions from? Oh my lordy. Well, all I know, because I think I was around 14 when I recorded that song in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Kenny Laguna, the producer, along with Richie Cordell. Yeah, I think they kind of had this tune, or we'd heard this tune. I'd heard the Strangelove version of
Yes.
this tune, but it was a guy singing to it was a guy singing about a girl. So I had to kind of change the lyrics up, obviously, because I couldn't, I had to make it make sense for me to be singing. That was it, really. So I guess it was a combination of us having heard the track. I think the guys in the band, had heard the track from him, and then we recorded it based on him, bringing that idea to us.
Too
Oh,
cool.
man.
And I remember when MTV actually played music videos back then, and I love the video that you guys did for that. That was awesome. Where was that shot at? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I was 14, Jeremy. I wasn't in a time warp with my head wrapped up in a cotton wool. No, I actually... these are really hard questions. That's what I want to do. Well, I know that it was in Death Valley, and my favourite place was obviously Venice. That's where I fell in love with Venice Beach. Because there were two locations simply because the producer, who I honestly, today I can't remember his full name, but I called him, he was called, to me, he was like a Steven Spielberg. He even had the beard and everything, but he was such a brilliant director. I'd love to work with him again. And he basically, scattered the locations, and we did the video. I think it was because it's meant to be a summer song. So, that I know a guy who's tough but sweet. I think that was the idea. It's meant to be kind of like a bubbly, upbeat, vibe for the video, and that's where we ended up shooting it, to those two locations.
And then by 1983, you launched your own solo career. And how did you hook up with Jim Lee from the band Slade to record your album Fever?
I was told that there was no more. They wanted to get a new lead singer or something, and in fact, I wasn't even told. I read it in the music press. But there you go.
Wow, really? Wow.
Now, pursue. I have to clarify this to anyone who may be or may not be interested. I didn't pursue a solo career at the age of 17 because I was in a band from the age of 14. So it was all a bit of a news to me, and I can only say that when I got round to recording some songs for the album Fever, it was kind of like a very difficult period in my life because I kind of grew up doing, from 14 until 17, it was growing up in the public eye kind of thing. And a lot of child stars can probably relate to this. When you don't have, anybody in your camp that you're actually, able to speak with one-on-one, and have no one that you can really rely upon, it kind of makes things a little bit difficult, right?
Absolutely.
So not knowing what the hell was going on at that period in my life, I can honestly say that if it had been up to me, I would not have stopped doing Bow Wow, because I absolutely loved singing the stuff and performing it. And I co-wrote the last album with the lead guitar player, and Do You Want to Hold Me, and all those songs come from that. So very, very, grateful to have started my songwriting career with the lead guitar player teaching me at the age of, 16 and a half, 17, before all of that happened.
And I know, Annabella, through the 1990s, you were heavily into the dance music scene. I know you had some chart toppers there in the UK. And what are you currently working on yourself today?
The stuff I do today, I hope reflects all of that I am as an artist as we speak today. Which is more, I guess, the only way I can describe it is spiritually orientated.
Yeah, I mean, it was so funny, Annabella. I grew up here in Orange County in LA, and I was just talking to Terry Nunn from Berlin earlier today, and I just told her, I said, I could have toys, but I wanted records, and I did it from a very, very early age, and I love music, and being a DJ and just playing the tunes. It's very, very passionate for me, I guess you could say.
Well, music is very healing, so
Yes.
That's what the beauty of it is. If obviously people can relate to what's going on musically,
Yeah.
or otherwise, but that's the reason why it really is a universal language. No matter where you go in the world, people always, there will always be emotions that come out from periods of their lives, from songs that they've heard.
Absolutely.
But they have to remember that, that that the songs that are being sung by the people that they're hearing, singing them, are, meant to last. And I mean, I'm hoping that's the case. As a songwriter, for me, it's really important to write songs that, last a while. And I'm hoping that will continue with my own stuff, as well as other collaborations that I've done with other artists. So hoping that my fans will have an open mind about Annabella Lwin of Bow Wow Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Annabella, are you working on some new material? Are you in the studio, or just kind of writing, or what are you doing?
I've got. I couldn't focus on that because my mother passed away in 2010, and then my father last year. So it kind of everything affects. Everything affects everything affects me. I'm an emotional woman. So basically it was a tough couple of years with regards to that kind of stuff. And I'm going to now start trying to find the right people that I can go and do the stuff I want to do, as opposed to the stuff I had to do, and actually hopefully have some fun and enjoy what there is to enjoy musically and otherwise. And I would say the same for all the fans that remember me from that band, because it will never be the same as it was from 1980 to 1983. The original band that made that band work, Matthew Ashman, God rest his soul, he died in 1995, and it was never the same after that, really. And in the incarnations I worked in, it never really was the same ever again. And it's just one of those things. You just got to, get up and walk away, as they say, when it's just not working.
Annabella, I couldn't say it better myself. Annabella Lwin of Bow Wow Wow is going to be up on stage Saturday, October 12th at the Tiki Bar in Costa Mesa. Annabella Lwin of Bow Wow Wow, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for asking me, Jeremy.